After owning 3 Peloton bikes in the last few years, which I've absolutely loved, in this video I'm going to be telling you the 8 reasons why in 2023 I'm riding a NordicTrack Studio Series bike instead. And if you're thinking about buying a connected home fitness bike, then these reasons might be of interest to you as well. Let's get cracking. Before I start, and to put first things first, I just want to say that I'm a huge fan of Peloton. So in addition to the 3 Peloton bikes I've owned and loved, I've also had a Peloton tread along with the Peloton guide. The only product I haven't liked that Peloton make is the Peloton guide. I think the rest are fantastic, and I think if you get those, you'll be very, very happy with them. In fact, last year, I even went to London, can you see me, just there, and did a live ride with Hannah Frankson. One of the highlights of my adult life. So why am I now riding a NordicTrack bike? Let's get to the reasons. Number 1 is tablet size. This is the S27i, and the number correlates to the screen size. So on the S27i, the screen size from corner to corner is 27 inches, which is really quite big and immersive when you're riding, when you're quite close to the screen and riding. I'll come to why it's making this noise in a moment. The other bikes I have is a 22i with a 22-inch screen and the 15i with, you've guessed it. I do think though that the 22-inch screen will be enough for most people. So here's a 27-inch screen, just ignore this speaker part at the bottom. And here's the screen that's on the 22i cycle. And if you just ignore what's around the screen, you can just see the screen here. So when I'm on the running machine, which is a 22-inch screen, the same as a 22i, I don't feel like it's a small screen. I feel like it's perfect for when I'm using it. When I get on the 27i with a 27-inch screen, it does feel big. So I'd be happy with either the 22i or the 27i screen. The next thing to consider is the type of ride content. I didn't really consider this when I bought my Pelotons, and I did over 400 class rides and I really like them. If class rides are your thing, then you should 100% get a Peloton bike. But after 400 rides in the same environment, I started to kind of lose interest slightly. So Peloton have got 2 studios. They've got one in New York and they've got one in London. Did I mention? But that's it. So you're in a studio for nearly all their rides. They do have some outdoor rides like this one, but they are limited and nowhere near as kind of put together as these rides are. So what I realized was that I actually prefer these scenic fitness rides to the class rides. And one day you could be mountain biking in Whistler, you could be road riding in Barbados, or this chap's crossing the United States and visiting all the national parks. If class rides are your thing, I would certainly lean towards a Peloton. If you prefer this sort of outdoor riding, then, I mean, ifit, which is the programming on these bikes, is hands down the best. The bike keeps moving, and I want to talk about it in a moment. But yeah, these outdoor fitness rides, if this is your thing, then I don't think there's a better platform. Another consideration is the auto resistance, incline and decline. The Peloton Bike Plus has auto resistance, but weirdly not for their scenic rides. And what that means is as the terrain changes, so will the resistance on the pedals. If they're going uphill, it will get harder to cycle. If they're going downhill, it will get easier. And it's auto adjusted by the instructor, which is another great feature. And you can manually adjust this resistance if you want to, but I barely touch it. And it is kind of fitted to you. So if I'm an intermediate rider, which means if I do an easy ride, they're perhaps a bit too easy for me. But if I do an advanced ride, they're perhaps a bit too hard. However, when I start these rides, I can tell the bike that I want to be harder than the actual ride itself. And as the resistance in the ride does this, I'll be doing this above it. I hope that makes sense. And on an advanced ride, where the resistance might be up here, I can make it so that I'm following the ride, but I'm at a lower level. Now, before I talk about another feature that I really like, I just want to say if you're enjoying this video, then I know everyone says it, please hit the like button. It really does help us out. And if you're thinking about buying a NordicTrack Studio Cycle or any other NordicTrack bike, I'll put a link in the description and also the pinned comment. That will take you to the best price on NordicTrack's website, and it also helps support the channel. So thank you very much. Next feature I absolutely love is this one here, and it's the Autoplan. So when you're cycling, you don't want to be sitting in your own kind of musk. So it has an Autoplan feature. You can see that it's put the Autoplan on. I'm not pedaling, so there's nothing coming out. But the harder I pedal, you should be able to hear that fan just kick in. So the harder you pedal when you're on your workout, the harder this fan blows. It is just genius. The NordicTrack bikes come with weights as standard. It's not part of a package. And if you don't want to ride in cycling shoes, then the pedals are dual-sided, so you can ride with a cage one side and an SPD cleat on the other side. This is especially good if you're like my household, where you have, say, one rider, me, who rides a lot, who wants to use cycling shoes, but the rest of the family are very casual riders and I don't want to buy 4 extra pairs of shoes. With Peloton, NordicTrack, Hydro, these are all subscription-based connected fitness devices. So in addition to buying the item itself, you're also going to need to pay a monthly subscription to get the most out of them. With Peloton, it's about $500 a year, but what I found with NordicTrack is I pay about half that cost. And I do that by just buying an annual membership in their Black Friday sale. So I paid last November, it was £250 for the year for the whole family, which is a really good price, I think. I think it was something like $150 if you're a single user as well. It's quite a big saving to make, and my subscription doesn't run out in November, it runs out in February, but what happens is when I buy it at that time, it just adds it on. Lastly is the audio tracks. So with these rides, you can separate the instructor from the music. And this is really handy if, like me for instance, I have the instructor's voice on, I listen to my own music or an audiobook or a podcast a lot of the time, or it might be the other way around. I might not want to hear the instructor, I might just want to have the music on. So when you click on the screen, it brings you up to these audio settings. So in this case, I can just turn the music all the way down. You've got a master volume here as well. And then I've just got the instructor's voice. And this morning I was doing this and I just had some Spotify playing in the background. And when you do this, it tells you on the screen where your RPM should be if you're not listening to the instructor, and the resistance is auto anyway, so that gets changed for you. Conclusion, I really like Peloton, especially their class content and what they do off the bike, so their yoga, their strength content, etc. And I originally planned to buy this bike along with a 22i I've had as well, just to make videos with them and then sell them on. But when it came to actually sell one bike, so I had the Peloton Bike Plus here and also this bike, it was actually the Peloton Bike Plus that I sold. And the reasons I've already discussed in this video, it just seemed like much better value for the functionality that this bike gives me on top of what the Peloton bike did. And in addition to that, I do really love these outdoor scenic fitness rides. So as premium home fitness bikes go, so far for 2023, my picks are the S22i or the S27i. See you next time.